So it's Saturday the 16th of September, it's about 2 in the afternoon. Got here to the boat yesterday. I've had a day of thinking about how I'm going to do the framing for the bathroom and about the hearth for the fireplace. So I've come down this weekend really just to rip down this bathroom model I made and have a go at putting up some real partition walls. Never done anything like this before, so I'm going to be learning as I go. I don't know whether to put a saw plate down or build a frame on top of it, but I'd like the floor flush as you come through the door, so I'm not sure what's going to happen with that. I've got a pretty good idea of what I want with the hearth. So really my main job today is to put just a single wall up, put an air gap in, put another set of sheets up. I'm going to use the cut-offs for the wall panels to just line this wall, because nobody's going to see it. It's going to have an air gap and then it's going to get tiled over eventually. So I'm quite happy to use the scraps for the wall panels to build this wall and maybe frame out the entire bathroom. I'm not sure what we're going to do yet, but I've never done any partition walls before. I've never done any stud walls before. So it's a lot. I've done a lot of thinking about it. So I've taken down the mock bathroom and cleared the space up. Now I'm just wondering how I'm going to do this. I'm thinking of putting a saw plate on for the sides and the front and putting one down at the back just to make sure it's square, then screw that down and remove the one from the back, cut out the bits for the door at the front. So I've got a small frame that's square to put a frame up for the wall. Never done anything like this, so I'm just trying to figure it all out in my head before I get started so I don't have to undo it all. Yeah, it's starting to come together in my head, I think, a little bit. About 6 o'clock. I've spent all afternoon trying to get this thing square. I don't think it's particularly square. It measures roughly the same. It's like 7 feet, half an inch, and like it varies between like a quarter and a half quarter. But it just doesn't feel square no matter what I've done. But it's really close. I think it's as square as I'm going to get it. I've smacked it down now. I've had enough of it. So. I mean, a lot of this stuff needs to come out once the bottom bit's just braced. I'm just setting up for where the walls are going to go, really. So that middle line and that middle support strut and the back wall and all these diagonals are going to come out. So that's what all I wanted to do, is get this line, that line, and the other side of the door. So yeah, it's taken like 3 hours to get that square. It's annoying as hell. But getting on, it's getting a bit dark, 6 o'clock, screaming towards the equinox, 3 or 4 days away now. 5 days, something like that. Alright, 6:30. It's starting to come together a little bit more confident in my head. So the idea is we've got just a base frame, and I'll build another frame up to the ceiling. So we've got one 6 foot, 4.5, 6'5", I think that post is, to the floor. And that one's 6 foot, and I'll measure the gap between the two at the bottom and there. And I'll put a brace across and a couple of up and down struts, and then I'll fill in the back gap. And then we'll see if we can line it with the plywood maybe tomorrow. I'm going to finish this off into the night. Eventually I'll just screw this frame into the one that's already in the floor. This is just, the one that's in the floor is just, you know, a guideline for where the walls are going. So yeah, getting there a little bit, slowly but surely. Sunday morning, 10 o'clock. This is where I got up to last night, and it got a bit late to start using the saw. So I didn't actually talk through what I've done. So I've put a base plate on the floor, basically, as a straight square box, just I can build the walls from. I've got this little bit attached to the ceiling that it locks into, that I'll eventually screw it into, and then it will come down this seam. So let's just put this up and I'll show you real quick. Nearly my first ever partition wall. So that will just screw in at the top. And with that we can fine tune it for straight. And then I just need to build this little triangle section here where it'll attach to the wall, and then we'll screw the base down into the frame. But yeah, getting there. So it's about 8:30 now, 20 to 9, something like that. I've just done a tidy up. I've not really filmed much this weekend. I've done a time lapse of pretty much the whole weekend, but I've not really filmed anything I'm doing. I've just kind of stuck it all together as I go. I've got the two sides up permanently, and the front I've kind of just got clamped into place at the minute, just kind of sizing it all up. I've mocked up what one of the walls is going to be like. So that's with the this 19mm by 38mm, and then framed with two sides in 19mm. Ends up, you know, nice and thick. not too bad. It's a little bit loose at the minute. I've ran out of wood, so that's why I stopped. Got another batten to put in here, in this space I think. And maybe, probably not one that side because it's going to have a toilet eject at the bottom, so we'll work it out next time we come back. Yeah, not too bad. And also one of the bits at the top broke, so I'll have to get some more wood to finish this off. And then I'll line the front with some offcuts from the panels like this. Just mop that up, and then that's why this one's got so many battens, because this is going to have the hearth in front of it, so this wall doesn't really matter, no one's ever going to see it. So then it'll have an air gap, then the hearth built in front of it. So, but yeah, pretty fun weekend. Doesn't really feel like I've done a lot. Never feels like I've done a lot, and all the jobs feel like they take a lot longer than you think they're going to take. But it's starting to come together. Well, I'm back for another cloudy, rainy weekend. A little bit more wood. Going to finish off the stud walls here. This is how I left it last time. Do a little bit more bracing on the side. I've got this front wall to finish. Just trying to figure out what I'm going to do with it. If I'm going to panel it, if I'm going to use the scraps of the walls up. Yeah, but this is where I left it. So a little bit more to do. A little bit of bracing on that wall, I think. Might rejig that, but we'll see how we get on. So not a lot to do. You know, figure out whether I want to buy a door or build a door. How tall I want the door wants to be. Do I cater it to my like 5'6", 5'7", or do I cater it to a 6-foot person going in and out the door? Don't know yet, we'll see. So yeah, fun weekend of just playing my bits, finishing this off. So it's getting on for about 12 o'clock in the afternoon, Saturday the 30th of September. It's really starting to feel like autumn. Yeah, sun's not getting as high, it's not getting as warm. Autumn, you know, what can I tell you? So things that I'm thinking about during this is where I'm going to run the water pipe through this back wall, and like try not to have to cut through screws later on to fit the pipe in. Things like the toilet eject, which would be on this wall. So I can't put a straight up batten on this wall. I've got to put a cross piece and then a straight batten to the ceiling to leave enough room for a cartridge eject section here. So you know, I've never done anything like this, as I mentioned over and over and over last week, or last fortnight, but I'm trying to think through everything. Trying not to rush it, trying to make sure it's all, you know, strong and square. Now, I don't think I mentioned it before, but I'm only using 19 by 38 mil, so there's a bit of give in these walls, and I'm hoping when I put some plywood on it, it'll thicken up and firm up. So in theory, the walls will be almost an inch thick when they're finished. So yeah, all being well, we'll get the rest of this carcass built today, and we could probably frame it out today or tomorrow. Not frame it out, board it out today or tomorrow, and see how it looks. Yeah, and you know, if I don't like it, if it's not strong enough with the cut-offs, I can just get some panels and take the cut-offs off and panel it all, you know, one sheet, make it all super firm. This one I'm not too worried about because I've got to build another wall in front of it, but the other two do need to be fairly strong. So things like how high is the door going to be, how I'm going to do the door, am I going to buy one, I'm going to make one, I'm probably going to make one. I was going to bring some insulating foil like I did under the floor and insulate the other walls of this. Trying to make it a bit more waterproof, you know, but I'm to and froing on ideas. Having never done anything like this, I really, you know, don't know where to go. And given an extra fortnight to think about it, you know, I could have taped the floor out, made it exactly square, and then screwed it down to that instead of, you know, spending 3 hours trying to build a frame that was square to stick to the floor. But you know, hindsight's 20/20, so that's the point of all this. It's a learning curve, you know. I'm going to try and learn on the job. So I've just been sizing these uprights up. This is why I did these battens at that distance, so they can go between these upper battens to line this. So yeah, so I was just sizing that up to see how it fits. So yeah, just using a clamp to show you. That's my plan for boarding out. Just have the upright strips like that. And fill in the gaps. That's a little bit wide. We'll see what I can do, what scraps I've got to fill that in. But yeah, it shouldn't be a problem. But we'll get on with that when we get on with that. First off, I've got to finish off this front frame to make sure that all fits in. But yeah, let's get on with it. Just a little quick update to show you how I'm making sure my frames are square. Got all sorts of bits clamped in, including a set square just to drill a side hole. Yeah, it's taken forever. So it's about 6:30. In a position to start putting bits of wall on early. I've got this frame finished. I just need to attach it to the main frame, and I've been sizing up panels. I'm going to do that one sideways up, and this one I've just been cutting these to fit. Sort of pencil mark. Yeah, so it's not, you know, perfect, but it's okay. And then I've got this section to do, which is going to be a little bit fiddly, but I'm just about to pull all this off now and attach the frame in, and that'll be the stud walls done, I guess. So yeah, we'll see how it looks in a minute. Well, that's the front wall off. There's the two sides finished. I've removed the screw from the middle. I've left that in now, but I'll chop that out when we see how big the cartridge ejector for the toilet is. Put a second screw in there to stop it spinning. Yeah, we're ready to put the wall in, I think. So it's about 8:20. Everywhere is a bit of a mess. I've got a little bit done. I want to get a little bit more done. And I'll leave that for tomorrow. That's circular saw work. This side, got a load of it boarded up. Now I'll either fill over and paint, or wallpaper and paint, or something in this box. We'll see what happens. I just wanted to, we might rip it all out yet, I don't know, because it's still not very sturdy. I'm just going to put this up and route the gap out, and I've overlapped all these doors to make all these edges on the door, so I can route it out. It's still quite flimsy, so I might rip it all out and change it yet, but we'll see what it's like when we've got all the walls up. Yeah, getting on with it. A little bit more to do before Nigel comes over for chess. So it's Sunday afternoon. I didn't get much further with this. This wall is actually quite sturdy now, so I'm quite happy with that. This wall, however, is way too flimsy for my liking. It's got a quiver like a bow, like a bowstring. So I think I'm going to end up replacing this front frame out and rebuilding it out of something a bit thicker. I did think about doubling it up. I haven't got anything else thicker long enough to make it up. I've got these bits which I did the some of the battening with, but it doesn't really work. I don't know about using metal L plates, like, you know, iron bar or whatever. But yeah, that's as far as I've got so far. But I think I'm going to replace this front with something a bit thicker. But like I said, I've got nothing longer with me, so I can get 2.4 metre in the car. So I think that's going to call it a weekend at this point. I will have to continue on next time, but it looks good. Think of this as a trial test, you know, Mark II 2.1, but it looks okay. That's fine. I still haven't finished the cutting out the bits for that yet, but I'll do that next time. But yeah, still, you know, testing, continuing on. So as I'm packing up to leave, it's about 5 o'clock, 20 past 5. So I'm packing up to leave and I get an idea. And I think, why don't I just cap the end of the doorway off with a piece sideways on? With the plywood on, it gives it the thickness to be able to bite. So there's a little bit of a lip. And that's given it quite a bit more rigidity. It's still not attached to the ceiling, which is a bit of where that give's coming from. And I think as soon as the door frame is also braced out this wide as well, all the way down, I think that'll be rigid enough, you know. And then we put a pocket door, maybe just a single piece of 18mm, just on push rails to come out into a frame this side. So annoyingly, as I'm packing up, I've got like a spurt of inspiration and I want to get on and do some bits. I've mocked up some boards at the back to see what that'd feel like in there. Annoyingly, where was this motivational weekend? I just watched Big Bang Theory all weekend, but yeah, I like that. That feels a lot better, and as soon as I put it on the upper strut and then on this wall as well, we'll be well away. But I do need to get home. I've got an MOT tomorrow, so I need to get to the car to the mechanics. So annoyingly, I'm going to leave this here this week, and then I'll catch up and then tack it all together into a third piece in a fortnight or so, or 3 weeks when I come back. Winter's quickly coming on. It's still not too bad. It's still not too bad. It's still not too cold yet, but we're already just into October, so we'll see how we get on with it. Yeah. So here we are back again at North Kilworth Wharf. It's Friday the 3rd of November, about 12 o'clock in the afternoon. It's turned to winter since the last time I've been here. It's been a good 5-6 weeks since I've been here. Not put anything up on YouTube in a good few months. The 2 videos I've shot of doing the bathroom, I haven't completed it yet. I wasn't 100% on it, so it's been nice to have a little bit of time off just to sit and think about it, wonder what I'm doing with it, and come at it with a bit of gusto, a bit of a fresh energy. So here today for the weekend, here till sometime Sunday, so we'll see how we get on. It's been a bit of a shift around here at the yard. This is a new boat in the way, and there's still work going on. So let's get in the boat, get unpacked, get a coffee on, and then we'll go through what I'm thinking about with the next bathroom wall. So now inside the boat, I left it a little bit of a mess, but I'll get all this tidied up. I probably won't need to because it's the stuff I'm using for the job. So this is where I got up to. I will jump back and do the rest of the videos, and then we'll catch up after that. But this is where I'm up to. It's okay. I'm thinking about plumbing and stuff like that and trying to strengthen the walls. So yeah, I mean at this point, because I've done it sideways on, trying to save space, they're really flimsy. So what I did is I put a strip on, my kind of bracing strip on the side, and it's firmed it up quite a bit, and now I'm just going to attach it to the ceiling and put on a back wall of plywood to see how that is. And if I don't like it, then I've still only just made a couple of little holes in the ceiling and the walls, and I'll rip it all down and replace it. But at this point I don't want to undo everything because there's been quite a bit of work done. So I'm going to try this method, see how it feels when it's all kind of cladded up, and we'll see how we get on with it. So I'm a little bit further on. Been taking steps to make sure that the wall is level, making sure that the frames are square and well supported while I screw everything back together. It's all really sturdy on the ceiling, so I'm curious to see how it feels when I've got the plywood on. So yeah, let's just tighten all this up. But yeah, that's nice and square. So about 3 o'clock now, and I've got this bit lined. I'm still going to trim all the edges off with the router, but I'm quite happy with that. So we made a bit of a mess. I was showing my friend Richie, and he says I've over-engineered this, but because it's narrow wood, I wanted to make it as strong as possible. Now this side I want to do with an entire sheet because I want to give it as much strength as I can. So I'll do 2 sheets on this wall. So yeah, get on with it. Just going to clean all this up now with a router. Okay, so getting on for 4 o'clock, a little bit past 4 o'clock maybe. I've got the frame done. It's a bit of a hard angle to show you. And it's firmed up quite a lot. Don't really need it to be much firmer than that. But we'll line the inside at some point as well. And there's the frame I've put in. Give it a bit of strength. And all this is going to get lined with some insulation. So I'm going to go get that out of the car shortly. So it's about 12 o'clock Saturday. It's been cold and rainy. All of the MDF liners are wet, where the windows get condensation on them because they're cold. So they won't be obviously a permanent thing, but it's just to stop water dripping down the inside walls and getting on the plywood. So those are working quite well as sacrificial bits. I've just been pottering around in here. This is where I got to last night. A couple of other bits. I've just attached it to the wall, the frame down here, and I've just been running some cable inside the wall. I've hollowed the wall out, put the cable in, put over a little bit of electrical tape, and then kept very carefully a couple of staples. Now none of the wires are touched with any of the staples. But they are underneath the electrical tape, so there's movement in all the cable. So I've just tucked them in, kind of like half drilled out a hole and tucked them in, and these will go up here somewhere. So I'm on to lining this room with some insulating bubble wrap. I've got another roll of this stuff that I did the floor with. So my plan is to cut this to fit and line the entire wall and staple it into place and then line it inside the room. So yeah, let's go on with some of that. So it's about 2 o'clock now, 2:15, something like that. Feels about 5 o'clock. It's dark as, oh, it's horrible, dark and raining. Anyway, so I've lined the inside of the bathroom with some foil. That's the whole room done. So that's quite cool. I've been trying some plywood up against the wall. It sits flush. Yeah, it sits flush, and that'll be attached. So that'll look good. And I've just been thinking about how I'm going to line this. This back wall, I can do it in patches because it's going to have a shower and then some furniture or whatever in front of it. Maybe a super wide shower, I don't know yet. That's the fun of the project. So this can be done out of scrap. The side walls, I guess, could be done out of scrap because I don't know, this one for sure because it's going to have a pocket door in front of it. And this wall I'll probably tile. Don't know. So yeah, so it can all be done out of bits of scrap. That's a bit that I cut to piece out of a big piece that I had, just as a proof of concept, and that fits in nice and snug. So I might get on and start lining the inside of this. There's this. So I've been thinking about the water. I think I'm going to have to do the water before I do the fireplace, just because of the bit underneath the fireplace where the water's going to have to go. Cold water will be starting at that end of the water tank, coming all the way down, feeding a sink, then coming through under the fireplace, feeding the shower, the toilet and the sink in the bathroom, then continuing through into here to a calorifier, which will put out hot water, which will come back along this wall to feed the sink, the shower, and to come down and to terminate in the kitchen, feeding the hot water. I'm going to do some central heating on this side with radiators with a separate closed hot water feed, either from a diesel heater or from the engine. I'm not sure yet. We'll see how that goes when it's time. So yeah, so I think I'm going to have to do at least the pipes for the water before I do the fireplace. So I've been thinking about that. Also, there's this little panel here. It's a little easier to see on the camera than it is in life. That little strip, this one, this one here will just come off. So that's where I can pump out water and set up the outlets for the water for the shower and the sink. I'm going to have them both fed into a single pipe and pumped out so they're high above the water line, I think. So every time you use the sink, it operates the pump. Every time you use the shower, it operates the pump. I think that should be fine instead of having a gravity release on the water. I'm not sure about the kitchen yet. I might do a separate pump in the kitchen, but I'll probably just do a gravity feed from the sink in the kitchen. But I'm not sure yet. I'm just trying to think through these ideas. Like where my water pump's going to go, how I'm going to set the accumulator up. You know, where all the feed's going to come down this end. So I'll have to switch over the sides of the boat once I finish the bathroom. But I can do these two interior walls just out of scrap, just to finish up using some of the bits I've got, because they'll get covered up anyway. Cool, on with the fun and games. So about 5:15, I've been getting on with it. Not really filmed a lot. Can't really film a lot. It's a bit tight in here. There's no angle to get the camera in. I haven't put that lower wall in yet. I've put this little upper section in to go along with this section above the door, and I've done this entire wall. It's not bad, it's not brilliant, it's not bad. So yeah, like I said, it's a bit tight in here to film anything. So I've drawn on the wall where the wires go so I don't screw through it. And I think I'm going to move that down into this section. I'm going to do that now. Cool. So, Sunday morning, my scrap wood pile is rapidly diminished. Got a little bit further on, haven't quite finished the bathroom, pretty much run out of wood, pretty much run out of screws, remnants of last night's chess game with Nigel. But yeah, so I've got this kind of block done. I mean, obviously it'll all be, you know, either painted or wallpapered and painted or covered over with something or clad. This is just basically the structure. I've still got this entire back wall to do. I'm going to do that with some thicker plywood, I think, just because I want to give it a bit more strength back here. So, but it's looking like a space prop. This side is completely finished, ready for a shower to go in front of it. And this one I'm going to put a pocket door up against this wall, but that's all finished. These two walls I've pretty much run out of wood. Got a drawing on the wall where the wiring is. A couple of the light and the fan switch poking out. But I don't know what to do yet. I haven't stuck that bottom piece in. I've got these few offcuts that I could close up this gap today. I might do that. I don't know yet. I might leave it for an entire panel. For ease for tiling, I don't know. But yeah, gotta get more wood. And that's pretty much all I've done this weekend. I wanted to have a look at the hearth build, and we're still at this pile of offcuts, scrap wood down here. Yeah, so that's all. I did change out the battery, and I've got a proper leisure battery, just a cheap one from Halfords, but it'll do for what I need at the minute, and I've got a smart charger coming for that. But yeah, so yeah, pretty much run out of wood. Something I do need to do though is, since I'm going to be running water pipes down this entire wall, I need to pull apart my camp and set it up under the side somewhere. Take all that apart at the far end so I can start working on building the wardrobe at the far end that's going to house the water pump. Bring all that lot up and try plumbing in some water. Getting some water, I need to go to a sink here and 3 outlets in the bathroom block. So yeah, let's get a tidy up of this place. You know, it's amazing how everything just seems to like fold away, put away. Well, it's been a couple of weeks of not really feeling like I've got a lot done. Finally kind of finalised this room, I guess. Thinking more about water pipes. I went ahead and patched in, or patched up I guess, or stuck in this wall. Now it's not particularly even in little bits, but I don't know if that's going to matter when it comes time to tile this. I may end up just ripping it all off and putting just a full sheet in. This wall I want to put a full sheet in. These switches are probably not going to be deep enough for that, so we'll just leave them until we've worked out, you know, what we're doing with the interior walls here. Still got this wall to do. I've braced it up a bit more since I've used little scraps inside. It's given it a bit more strength. So I just want to put a full sheet on that as well, just really for aesthetics. And I might you know, paint it, varnish it, I'm not sure yet. But this little space will definitely have its own little identity, I think. So, but that's the rest of the boat cleaned up. Everything's loaded into the car. The scrap pile of wood has got much smaller. Yeah, so probably not going to be down here so much over the winter. Maybe 2 or 3 times now, probably 3 times before the start of the next season, next March, April. So you know, it's been slowing down a bit. Need to save up some money. We're starting to get to some expensive bits: bathrooms, toilet, shower cubicle, all the pipes for the water, calorifiers, 500 quid at the minute. So cold water we could probably get on with a couple of £100, sink and stuff. I'm thinking about bulkhead this side as well, and the wardrobe at this far end to build the water pump enclosure into. Yeah, a lot to think about. Also want to think about the pocket doors in the bathroom. Got some drawer runners on order for that, for some ideas. So we'll see how we get on. Give me some time to think, recoup a little bit of money over the winter, and then we'll come back in spring and see how we get on. But being here over winter, it's not too cold yet. It's like, you know, 6 degrees Celsius overnight. So it's a little bit damp, it's a little bit clammy. There's been definitely some water collecting on all of these. So if you look at the water staining in the MDF, so where that's not a viable option full term, but it just stops all the water dripping down into the back of the plywood for now. So these are almost sacrificial. Did talk to a guy about it, and he says if I back them all out with spray foam, if I stop the air getting behind them, it'll stop that happening. So we'll have to see about that when I get time to put the final liners in. Until then, it's something we're going to have to live with. But yeah, apart from that, everything looks great, everything looks clean. Yeah, quite happy to leave this like this for a couple of months now. Maybe come back over Christmas, maybe come back again around my birthday, start of February. But then we'll try and save some money, try and get some components and put a bathroom together, and then as soon as I've got them pipes in, I can start on this wall. I've been thinking about putting a pocket door in, but then it's how do I brace it, because the from here the air gap and then the fireplace is pretty straightforward. If I want to put a big cavity in, I don't know how I'm going to make it strong enough for the air gap. So definitely worth some researching. If anybody's got any ideas about how to do pocket doors, how to do fireplaces, how to do plumbing, how to do tiling, let me know. All of this is brand new to me. I've never done any of it before. So yeah, should be quite a fun adventure as I screw bits up. I mean, this is, you know, it's not ideal. It's all done out of scrap, save money. But you know, we can skim it, we can wallpaper over it, we can paint it, we can plaster it. You know, we can do anything with it really. So it's quite an interesting look as it is. I'm thinking of aluminium corners for to brace the corner, and that should also stiffen all this up, because I was a little worried about this being, I mean, it's not bad. I mean, I can lean my whole weight against it, but I still don't know if it'll be any good for tiling. So maybe some aluminium L corners to go around it just to brace it up. This side, with it having a shorter length, is sturdier, or at least it will be when it's got the other side on. But yeah, progress. Bathroom box made, I guess. Just now using it for storage to keep stuff out of sight, out of mind. But yeah, no, I'm quite happy with it. You know, learn as you go, and we'll see how we get on. So yeah, that's going to do it for me. Thanks very much for sticking with me this long. Sorry for leaving a massive gap in between videos. It's just been a little hard to get going on bits I'm not too sure about. Don't want to jump in too hard, too far, and have to undo everything. So when I was doing lining and sealing, it was 5 months of easy step-by-step follow, repeat as needed, and yeah, got a lot done. So now I'm a little bit more dubious to jump in with stuff I'm not too sure about. So, but I guess we'll learn it and have to do it. It's exciting and terrifying all at the same time. Very, very expensive, as I've found. But yeah, thanks very much, everybody. Hope you're all having a good time. Hope you're having fun out there in life. Yeah, catch you in the next one.